So here we are ahead of the 2016 Penrite Broadford Bike Bonanza, where we'll be celebrating the 95th anniversary of Moto Guzzi Motorcycles. So here we are with Australia's own expert on all things Moto Guzzi, Tio Lamers. How are you, Tio?
I'm excellent today. Cameron, how are you, mate?
Very well. Tell us a little bit about some of the very special Moto Guzzis we're going to see at Broadford Bike Bonanza next year.
Well, next year we're going to see 6 X-race bikes, X-factory race bikes. The most special one will be the V8, the 8-cylinder, and the 350 twin-cylinder, very interesting as well. And another 350, 2 250s and a 500. Plus 4 Battle of the Twins machines out of Holland.
Wow, so especially the first 6 bikes you mentioned, all extremely iconic models in their own right. To think we're going to see all of them in Australia at the one place at the one time, something to get very excited about.
I reckon, because this will be a one-off and will never happen again.
Well, thank you for being involved in making this happen, because it's something I know I'm excited about, and I'm sure every other Moto Guzzi fan is, and not just that, any passionate motorcyclist. The opportunity to not only see these bikes, but we're going to get to hear them and see them on the circuit.
Yes, we will, because these people don't treat them like softies. They just go for it and they rev the shit out of them. They go really fast and noisy, and they enjoy just to be out there and to show them.
By far the most recognisable or iconic model would be the V8 500. For those that haven't heard one, and there'd be very few people in Australia that would have been lucky enough to, could you describe it?
No, you can't describe it. You have to see it, you have to explore it, you have to be there, see it and hear it, and you won't believe it.
I guess it's as much a sound that you would hear as feel, the power that comes from that 500 V8.
If you're close enough, you will. And they will give you the chance to be close.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, tell people a little bit about your connection with Moto Guzzi. You founded and own one of the largest Moto Guzzi dealerships in the world in the Netherlands.
Yes, I do. I started it off back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. After I finished uni, I decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a psychologist or start enjoying life and do what I love best, working on bikes. And I decided to go for the bikes. And at that stage I was riding a Moto Guzzi, and I just fell in love with the bike, the people, the country, the language, the food, the whole culture. And I call myself a motorcycle racist since then, because that's the only thing that counts in my life. Moto Guzzi, that's what it's all about.
Just one-eyed for the Moto Guzzi brand and the passion around that brand of motorcycles.
Yes, that's it.
Well, it'll be fantastic to celebrate that at the 2016 Bonanza, where we'll have the Shannon's Insurance Moto Guzzi marquee, where we'll be able to showcase some of these really special bikes when they're not on track, and people can get up close, take some photos, look and ask some questions and really get to experience these.
Yeah, talk to the owners, that's the best thing. Talk to the riders as well. Touch them, sit on them, take pictures, whatever they want. It's all possible.
Now, tell us your association with Moto Guzzi. We heard that you had a dealership in Europe. How did you end up living in rural Victoria?
Just by coincidence. I happened to have a mechanic, an ex-mechanic who went to Australia to work here, and he opened a shop in Mordialloc. So we went to visit him, and he happened being in need of a new factory. So we bought a factory and rented it out to him. And 2 years later, we came back to do some maintenance on the building, and we decided to buy a weekender. And we saw this property in the windows in Jij when we stopped for lunch. It was a bit bigger than a weekender. We had 600 acres, but what the heck. The price was for a weekender for us, being Europeans. And we decided it, but we never intended to come out. So we left it to the farmer for 2 years, and then after 2 years we came out for a longer holiday. And that was a mistake, because after that we decided, why go back to Holland? It was so crowded and busy and stressful. And 6 months later we moved.
And you brought some of your Moto Guzzis with you?
Not at that stage, but I did over the years, container after container after container. Because I found out after a while that I couldn't live without them. I tried, but I didn't manage it.
How many do you have in Australia in your collection now?
About close to 100, I reckon.
That's a collection to be envious of.
Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. I don't look at it like that.
People will get to see some of these machines at the Bonanza next year?
Yes, I will bring quite a few out, and together with the Moto Guzzi Club of Victoria, we will try to get as many Guzzis on display as possible. So there will be at least over 300 bikes that you can look at.
Wow, that will be a sight to see. Well, tell us, Theo, why Moto Guzzi? How did it start with this brand? Surely you rode other motorcycles before a Moto Guzzi, or what's the connection?
No, I started off as a Beamer, R51-3 back in the 60s. And going to the next town, there was a bend in the road that I could, after a year, I could take it at full speed. So it got a bit bored, and I was looking for a different bike that was a bit faster. But the conditions were it had to be non-Japanese and sharp driven. And at that stage there was not a lot of choice. I chose the Moto Guzzi, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I still remember the sensation when I hopped on it first time, the V-twin just making that movements, and it was just, I never lost that feeling.
And what model was that?
It was the 700 V7, and I still own that bike, so it's good.
That's special that you've hung on to that. Did you hang on to it since then, or did you have to find it again?
No, since then. Since then, I hang on to a lot of bikes since then.
Wow, that shows the passion.
Yeah, maybe it does, yeah, I know.
Do you have a favourite model?
Well, that's my favorite, of course. And another favorite is the V7 Sport, the green one that I showed you before.
Yep.
Those are the two ones that I like best.
Would you have a favourite model from Moto Guzzi's racing days?
No, not particularly. I like them all. Doesn't matter. No preference at all, whatsoever. Not even the V8. Is there
I take it there's still one or two Moto Guzzis on the list that you aspire to own?
One or two? I reckon there will be a lot on the list. Can't afford them at the moment, so I'm just sit back and relax.
Another special connection I was thinking of between Moto Guzzi and Australia was Australia's first motorcycling world champion, Keith Campbell. He was actually riding for the Moto Guzzi factory in 1957 when he won the 350 championship, which is something that is extremely special in our racing past, and we'll get to see a 350 very similar to that at Broadford.
Yes, we will. That's not the one that Keith Campbell won on, but it's the Bill Lomas one.
Yes.
So it's a real one.
The 250 compressor, another extremely exciting bike. The technology Moto Guzzi were using, supercharging the 250 in the 1930s, was incredible and so far ahead of the competition. What ceased that technology? Why stop pushing forward with it?
Well, the problem they had, the Second World War arrived, so that everything stopped at that stage because they had to produce cannons instead of motorbikes. And after the Second World War, the FIM stopped the supercharged engines, so they couldn't use it anymore for racing, road racing, but they still developed it further to set all the world records. They did between 40 and 1950, and they covered them all with that machine. It was an amazing machine.
It was an incredible output for a 250cc, wasn't it? Something like 40 horsepower?
Yeah, and they did 240 k's an hour in those days.
Wow, I mean that's fast now.
Yeah. And Stanley Woods, he was the first non-British rider on a non-British bike to win the TT at the Isle of Man. And not even that, he won it on the 250 and on the 500 the same year.
Yep, double winner.
In 1935, unique. BMW is still claiming it, but they won it 4 years later.
Now the 500 V8, we come back to that. How many actually were produced? Is it, correct me if I'm wrong, was there 6 produced originally?
No, you're correct there. Yeah, 6 original ones.
And how many of those are still surviving?
5. 5 are still surviving, 2 in the museum, And the 3 people that bring out these race bikes, they all own one.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
So, and these are the people that you've orchestrated to come visit the Broadford Bike Bonanza?
Yes, but these are people too that I know for years, because one of them raced for us when we were doing endurance racing.
Yes.
He was the test rider of the factory, so he was close to where it all happened. And in those days they just chucked everything out. They wanted to clean the factory, and he took all the race bits, he took them all home. And if you see his collection, you won't believe your eyes. He has more in there than the factory has.
So it's not only some special bikes we're going to see, we're going to meet some very special people that are going to come out here with these machines.
Yes, one of the other owner is the son of Umberto Todoro, and he worked very close with Kakano on the development of the V8. And it's just amazing to see the son of that engineer on that bike that his dad worked on, and it was so successful in those years. And some people reckon that it's not that successful, but because they only raced it a year, but they only raced it a year because in 1957 Moto Guzzi, Gilera and Mondial, they decided to withdraw from racing because there was no sponsorship in those days. The only thing they could get was tires, spark plugs and oil, and that was it. But related to the cost of those bikes and what they sold of the production bikes, it just didn't compare anymore. So they said, no, we have to pull out because we can't afford it anymore. And that's the reason why it all stopped.
That's interesting to know, because it seems to be a different era now with Grand Prix racing being the multi-million-dollar marketing, roadshow that it is, compared to back then. It truly was just about the passion to race and to improve the machine.
Well, not only that, but in these days you got all your social media. In those days you didn't have anything. So you only had to get a newspaper to read about it. So it didn't really support the selling of your product because nobody knew about it. And that's the big difference with these days, I reckon. Anything you do, the whole world knows it within 10 seconds.
Yes.
Facebook, whatever.
Yeah. Yep, you can't hide anything.
No.
The modern Moto Guzzi, something that still interests you? The bikes are still producing?
They still interest me, but not to have one.
Yes.
No, not anymore. I still like them, especially the sporty ones. But it's, well, you have to limit yourself. What else can you do? Otherwise, I've got too many bikes to ride anyway.
Theo, thanks very much for your time today to chat about the 2016 Broadford Bike Bonanza, where we'll get to see all these magnificent Moto Guzzis in the Shannon's Insurance Moto Guzzi marquee. And we've got a lot to look forward to. And like all our viewers out there today, hope to see you there and experience these bikes up close and personal.
So do I, Cameron. Thanks for that.
Cheers.
I'll see you next year.
Yep, see you at the Bonanza.
Okay.